Venezuela is dumping the dollar when it comes to official exchange transactions and will now use the euro or other convertible currencies instead. The move is retaliation.
Tetragrammaton, Yod, Hey, Vahe. That's Big Ben and Lil Joe hit the hard way. Cross the tree of life, Sephiroth like Hardaway. Then find a lane where a three-way is a foreplay. The world to come is depending on what the words say. Holla Candy Man 5 times spirit parlays. In the play, overlay, overstand, underlay. Under may just be the top, that's what thought lay. That's the law of correspondence. Empty house, full mind, my thoughts is abundance. And pardon me, but the spirit is amongst us. And I'm about to pull libations, it summons entities that are armies for my enemies. That are home, King Herod, he hardly understand what he's dealing with. I fight oddly. Southpaw catch a right jaw. This global reset. Respect for the downtrodden rejects. We wreck anything that we intersect. Reset globe trot, then we eject.
This is for Paul, Tony Grant, a former slave. Captive on his own land, skill hands made. Woodworker, craftsman, his trade. Fade way for new souls, a cascade. I'm a Robinson, Grant, Blakely, and Harrison. 4 guardians all around me form a garrison. So spirit burst when I converse. I thirst to touch the same light that was usurped. The globe is a oil field that so fire feels. Balance on the flat plain where men mount Bill. And dark produce the light that is in the arc seal. Like the ditty in the belly of the bow steel. I lie, although it seems that I comply. I am that I am, 5 chariot ride. God guts on the inside. Flail and crook ringing bell fry.
Global reset. Respect for the downtrodden rejects. We wreck anything that we intersect. Reset globe trot, then we eject. Peace, peace. And we're back again. Another impromptu live from the great state of Texas. And we're on StreamYard today instead of Zoom, but I wish StreamYard had some of the features that Zoom has. Let's see. Yeah, they don't have. Yeah, you can do slides, but I wish they had a whiteboard I could pull up on here. But either way, peace to everybody who is tuning in. Hope all is well wherever you are. Peace to Sage. Peace to Pandora. North Carolina in the house. Right on. It's my home state. And Texas is I've been in Texas just about as long as I was in North Carolina, Half of my life has been just about down here. So I had to claim myself a Texan as well. There's some interesting things going on. There's a lot going on in the sky astrologically or in the firmament that I didn't mention the other night. Even with all we talked about, it's so much going on. And especially down here. So what happened was, I'm going to do this. I wish on here I could do this like Zoom, but let me get my the real-time clock. Let me get it over here on the other one so at least I can look at it as I'm talking. No, that's the wrong one. Let me get this thing rolling. Talk about these crazy happenings. Okay. Animate the clock. Okay, September. No, I need this thing to update. Trying to get the thing. Okay, let's do this. We start over. We'll do it again. I'm pulling up my clock so you can keep track of how things are moving. Oh, today is the 4th. Okay, all right. It was right. I'm already a day ahead. I thought it was the 5th. All right. Okay, good. We golden. Okay, where do I begin? So yesterday, let's move this. God damn it. This thing keeps jumping over here to this screen. So yesterday, okay, I got to move screens because every time I move it, I'm going to move all of this over here. All right. Now I can move my clock and it quit moving. Okay. So yesterday, what was going on in the sky? Yesterday, Mars gets to 29 of Gemini. And Mars is in a crazy position because it was in a quincunx with Pluto at 29 of Capricorn and squaring Neptune. Wow. Okay, that's a crazy configuration. all this malefic energy. So let me try to make sense of all of this stuff that's been going on. We get emails and texts last night saying that there's some issue with the water here in Grand Prairie. And if you Google it, you probably can see it. And so then we get another notification that says school gonna be closed. They're just gonna play it safe. But there's no details yet about where this is coming from. They're just saying there's this foaming agent in the water. All right. And that to not drink the water, to not bathe in it, don't let your pets drink, don't wash dishes in it. Basically, the only thing to do with this water is, to use it as, for your toilet. Other than that, don't use this water. But they specifically said for people north of I-20. All right. Now, I happen to live south of I-20, but we was like, okay, we're just going to play it cool because we don't know what all is going on. These people being very vague about everything. Okay. What I first want to highlight about this is these aspects that are forming at the time this news comes out. Everything that happens is always a great tool for studying astrology. Okay. Neptune at 28 of Pisces, Mars at 29 of Gemini. One thing that Neptune and Mars have in common is that they both can deal with poisons. And here we have these two squaring each other at the time this comes out. Poisons, and then Neptune more so toxins, And so here we have some news coming out about something potentially toxic that's in the water. Now, here's how the astrology becomes even more, what's the word I'm looking for? Damn, my words are failing me. Just direct. That's not the word I'm looking for. Damn, I can't think of the word, but either way, Neptune also deals with water pipes. Damn, that word is driving me crazy. I can't think of the word that it's on the tip of my tongue. Literal. How literal the astrology can be. Here we have Neptune that can deal with poison, Mars that can deal with poison, and they're squaring each other, and Neptune also water pipes. And here we have a literal representation of the potential of this aspect. Now, could I have predicted this? Hell no. Not in a million years would I have been thinking, man, when Neptune square Mars, we might have some shit go on with our water pipes. No, never. But this gives me data to build my astrological vocabulary, because here's a real-time experience to add. The energy itself denotes something poison. The energy denotes maybe something deceptive, some type of hidden warfare. Now, that's what this, on the surface, when you look at Neptune squaring Mars, okay, there's also spiritual warfare. Now, and that still could very much apply to the literal situation that's going on right now, because Neptune is also Hollywood. It's deception. It is things appearing one way, but they ain't really as they appear. Neptune. So as the day wears on, we got up this morning and I my wife was going to work, so I'm here. Uh Thankfully, we try to keep some water stocked up, but we were low, and just so happened we went to Sam's the other day and got some gallons of water and some liters. Funny how the spirit be, you know, giving you little impetus to make moves, and you don't know how it might benefit you later on. So I get up and had to heat up some water on the stove so I could pour it in the sink to wash the dishes, then heat up some more water to rinse the dishes, um, brush our teeth with pouring some water in the cup, and, all types of just take shit that would take a few minutes, taking forever to do. Just trying to be, just display some caution, you know. Finally, I got to thinking, I got out and we drove around. I said, okay, 24-hour fitness is open. Now, if they're open, they got to be using their water. Home Depot is open. Ross was open. So a lot of stores were open. I decided to say, you know what? Okay, when we go back home, I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna use this water. I also saw an engineer parked in the parking lot, stopped and asked him some questions. He's like, yeah, I think you're good down here. Then I went and looked to see where's everybody water coming from. This became a little learning experience for me. I didn't know that cities buy their water from other surrounding cities. So Grand Prairie does not get its water just, it gets it buys water from Dallas. It buys water from Mansfield. It buys water from somewhere else, several different places. So I was like, oh, okay. By proximity, we're closer to Mansfield. So maybe our supply is coming off of them, which is maybe we're not affected by whatever's going on north of I-20. But either way, it was a damn show hassle, and it's still going on. Schools canceled tomorrow. So that's another day of setback on getting work done. But something don't seem right, because the mayor comes out and the mayor does his press conference, and it seems like he's befuddled, like he's trying to act out a script, because he keeps saying, well, there was a fire on such and such street in the industrial district, and they put the fire out, thought everything was fine. Then it turned out that maybe the agent that they used to put the fire out somehow got into the city's water supply through a backflow. Now, this does not make sense. From an engineering standpoint, they didn't explain this to how this could actually happen. And he seemed flustered when he tried to even remotely explain. And it just didn't seem like it was all on the up and up, which that reflects the energy of a planet being in a square to Neptune. Because while this square is going on, we also got Mercury, which is the news, because it's communication, squaring Uranus. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So Uranus is like, it is like the internet, it's broadcasting. Both of those together kind of fit in the realm of broadcasting. So here we have emergency broadcast. Sudden news comes out as Mercury squaring Uranus about some type of poison in the water. Neptune squaring Mars. But at the same time, Mars is in a quincunx with Pluto. Now, we're going to put our little quasi-conspiratorial hat on for a minute. No, we're not going to put it on. We're just going to throw this out here for the sake of looking at all things. If we wanted to use a word as strong as terror or terroristic acts, it's associated with the planet Pluto. Because when you terrorize, you overtake, you victimize someone, you assault, terror, victimization. These are things associated with Pluto. Pluto's in the hard aspect with Mars. Just want to make sure I cover the bases out of these different aspects that are forming at this time, real time. Another thing I think is interesting about all of this panning out and looking at all this from a long range perspective is that we have involvement between Neptune and Mars, like I've said. But what's the bigger picture behind this? Where is Neptune preparing to make its ingress into Aries, which is the sign that is ruled by Mars? So what if we are like in you when you watch a movie and they foreshadow and they're showing you something down the road just to give you like a little glimpse, a little tease, and it's like, oh, if you catch it, you catch it. If not, okay, we're showing you what's kind of coming, and then you'll go back to the storyline and they'll walk back up to it. I'm wondering if Mars, being the representative of Aries in a hard aspect with Neptune, is giving us some type of window into the future. And maybe not so much of just from the standpoint of resources and water and, biological things, biological contamination, biological toxins, but on a metaphysical turn or level, and something that I've already spoken about the humans, the pollutants of humans, because Mars represents the ego, the seed, the first expression, which is I am. It involves all of that, and it's in the hard aspect with Neptune. So the people as being pollutants. I'm wondering if this is giving us a little indication of the energy coming up. And we have Uranus in Taurus, where there's resources, this continued threat around resources, which then makes it even more important for the people to be vibrating at a certain level. There is no better way to create anarchy than to take people who already function in an animal-like state and apply pressure to them. And I'm going to keep moving, and we're going to kind of see how this, because it's a lot of stuff going on, because today, that same Mars, which is still in aspect with Neptune, is now over into Cancer, where it is in its fall. So it's a lot to talk about, because what we got is a T-square, an ongoing T-square. And I wish I was on Zoom so I could do my normal pull up the chart and draw and show the stuff. But what we have is Venus at 6 of Libra. We have Lilith at 7. No, let me get to the day. Let me move it ahead to today. So I'll be right now. So to add to that, we got the moon currently at 5 Libra, Lilith at 7, the South Node at 7, Venus at 8, and Juno at 9 of Libra. We got 5-point stellium in Libra right now, all squaring Mars and opposing Neptune at 28 of Pisces. It's a lot going on. It's a lot. That's why I titled this Love Under Siege. Love Under Siege. Because it's this stellium we got in Libra, which when we say love, we're talking about life. That's what love is. It is life. It's the fire that continues the expression of life. Okay. Libra, associated with love and relationship, the exchange of one's fire, because that's what happens. Aries is the lighting of the fire. By the time we get to Libra, we are exchanging fire. Okay. There's something, that's what the scales are. There's something here with Libra as well as Gemini and Aquarius. Why they harmonize with each other is because they are signs of socialization. That's what's really behind relationship. It is a form of socialization. Gemini initiates socialization because it begins with the ability to communicate, the ability to recognize what is around you. So if I recognize what's around me and then I can then communicate with it, that is the seed of socialization, i.e. the seed of relationship. Then by Libra, I've taken this communication and I've found another that I will communicate and exchange energy with, Libra. Aquarius elevates it to now I find a community where we can communicate and share with each other and receive love. So all of this, though, when we talk about socialization, it still is the sharing of love, which is fire or life energy. That's under siege right now. It's under siege because Neptune is a dissolving agent. And like we've talked about leading up, Neptune can also be poison. And when you couple that with the fact that Mars is in Cancer, which is its fall, you got this. Astrology, you learn astrology in the books, right? At least you learn the basics. The synthesis, though, is something that comes with time. You have to continue studying your own chart, study other people's charts around you. The more charts you can see and study people's ongoing journey through life, you start developing what's called synthesis. The same thing is like when I used to train people. You anybody can learn how to do a tricep press down, a curl, but how to program all that stuff together and actually create something for someone, that's an art that comes with time, and sometimes it's just intuition. So what I'm trying to now lead into is chart synthesis, how to see stuff in these layers. So here's an example of seeing astrology in a layer. Mars is in fall and Cancer, but think about it. When you learn these rules, just don't take it as, well, the books say Mars is in fall and Cancer, and it's in exaltation in Capricorn. Think, think the next step. Ask why. Well, why is Mars in fall and Cancer? Just don't accept the rule. Try to figure out why, then it becomes your information when you start asking those why questions. So you use common sense. Mars in its natural domicile is in a square to Cancer because Mars initiates the zodiac in Aries. When it is in Cancer, it is naturally in a place that is in conflict with its energy because Mars is the where we get the word kindergarten, kindle. It is the spark of fire. Okay. And this fire does not want to be put out. But for it to develop, it has to go through the gate of men, which is Cancer. Cancer is the gate of men because that's where souls come in, through Cancer. And what happens is when that soul comes in, which is fire, and it falls down into that water, have you ever taken a hot frying pan and all of a sudden dip it down into some dishwater? What sound does it make? Shh. In Hebrew, there's a letter that reflects that relationship, and it is called shin. Shin. And when you write in the Hebrew script, if you move the dot from one side of that word to the other, it becomes sin. Sin. And sin is associated with the moon. One of the names of the moon is Sin, Mount Sinai, sin. And the sin is the original sin is the divine spark falling down into matter. So when Mars is in Cancer, it is a hot ass frying pan has been dipped down into water. And so immediately the temperature of the water rises until it regulates itself. So Mars in Cancer is like boiling water. And so that's what we have right now. We have the boiling water of Mars in Cancer, which is now the seed is being forced to grow. It doesn't want to be in there, but it's part of the process because if it don't get in this water, it can't become. It's got to be in this amniotic fluid. It's got to be in this water because that's helping to break it down so it can move on to its next stage, which is Leo, which is where it's going to want to be. But while it's in that water, the transition, it don't like it. Mars in Cancer. That energy is squaring the stellium in Libra right now, and it's squaring Neptune still. So there's pressure in the home because Cancer is the sign of the home. Cancer is the sign of the seed. I mean, not the seed, the soil that the seed goes in. That's Cancer, the soil. Cancer is also the sign of nationality, nativity. So there's a lot of war energy right now in the air while Mars moves through Cancer. Okay. I hope I'm making sense with all. And I gotta cover this too because I left this out. I should have said there's a grand cross because there is, because also Ceres It's in the mix because Ceres is at 7 of Capricorn right now. So this puts a strain on resources, the home. This puts a strain on relationship. So this is a time for very sober minds to rule, including me, because it's we were in our class the other day, which you should be a part of. You should be a part of 720 Sacred Teachings, because it is high level everything over there. High level learning about astrology, high level learning about metaphysics, about etymology, high level conversations. It's high level, high thinking people. So you see the ticker at the bottom. Come join. But we were talking about the how these dragonflies have been really all around me, the past few weeks. So much so that walking out the house, dragonfly. Driving in the truck, dragonfly flying around the car in front of me. So message. So I get my book Animal Speaks, which is a brother gifted me that. And one of the key things I remember by looking into the dragonfly, it is adaptation, to be adaptive. And here we are at this, like a day like this comes up, or a week like this comes up. All of a sudden, the baby's out of school today, gonna be out in it. And I'm a very regimented person. I ain't been to the gym this week. Frustrated about that. Frustrated behind, I got a million ideas for videos and things. I got a lecture I got to finish putting together. Everything's behind schedule. I got a blog I need to write. Everything's behind. So in real time, I'm having to police myself and not fly off the handle myself. You have to be able to police yourself, because if you don't have a self-regulator, this is this energy right here, you can get grabbed up real easy. So families are under pressure right now. There's pressure in the home because Mars is applying pressure to Ceres. Ceres is the goddess of grain. She's Demeter in mythology. Demeter is the mother of Persephone. Persephone is kidnapped by Pluto. Demeter is like, I will withhold grain from the earth to y'all. Somebody better tell me something about my daughter. Until then, y'all won't eat. So the story is partly about learning to let go and to release things that we hold on to too much. Control. She had to learn to relinquish some of her control because she only wanted to maintain the beauty of the relationship she had with her daughter. And that was the first time of her feeling lost when Pluto comes in and takes her daughter. Conversely, Pluto has to learn how to deal with obsession because he was lonely, and through his obsession, he goes and snatches Demeter's daughter. So there's this theme going on here. So with Mars, which is a cutting agent, opposing Ceres, this puts a lot of pressure here around resources. And they squaring the nodal axis, and squaring Venus, and squaring Lilith and Juno. Juno is the wife of Jupiter, loyalty. So Juno is a steadfast energy. Lilith says, basically, fuck what makes you happy as far as the three-dimensional world, because I'm not concerned with that. So Lilith goes against the status quo. This can really put a lot of tension in the realm of one-on-one relationship, not just with a romantic, but it could be a business partner. It could be a one-on-one friendship, one-on-one exchange of life force. Lilith is here. Like if it's based on something that is some egoistic expression that ain't real, she's over here tilling the soil. So how do we mitigate all this? It is based on what have you been doing up to this point, okay? And being truthful right now. Because when we have a grand cross, it's like those old medieval torture tactics where they would hook up somebody, each limb to a horse, fire the gun, and all the horses take off, and it's like you're getting drawn and quartered. And so when feeling like you're being pulled in all directions, it makes you tighten up your core. Back 20 years ago in fitness, they really had us really focused. That's when it really got popular about training people's core muscles. You know, you would take the client and build up their erectors and their abdominal wall, because when you do that, it supports the spine and it creates an epicenter that radiates out, and it strengthens the whole body when the core is in order. So when you got a grand cross like this, you feel like you've been pulled in all directions, what is your truth? Because your truth is your core, and that's what you run to and take refuge, and that is what holds you when you're getting pulled in all directions. How strong is your midsection? How stable are you? Do you have a truth? So this might reveal the fact that you ain't got no truth right now. You've been floating on bubble gum, cotton candy. You ain't really standing on nothing. You don't really know who you are. North Node and Aries. Who am I? So the tension that's created with Mars and Cancer could be highlighting that. Who am I? Relationship can't work if I don't really have no real definition of who I am. When we look at Mars, and I'm gonna come to y'all's to the comments. I'm just trying to stay in the flow. Mars is something very interesting about Mars. Is that when we use words like defense, that's normally associated with Mars. Matter of fact, I just took my children to Taekwondo tonight. Taekwondo is a form of martial arts. There's the word Mars, Mars. And you're learning the Taekwondo mainly to protect yourself, defend yourself, not to go out and attack. Okay. But when we take that word defense, which is one of the other keys to studying astrology, remember, astrology is a language. And there's a reason why it's called language arts. Language is an art, which astrology is a form of language arts. So when you study words that are given keywords for these planets or signs, again, don't stop at what everybody says the key word is. Study the word itself. When I created this bundle, inside this bundle, that thing running down there, I'm telling you, in my bundle, I break the words down, and it might just seem like just a a bunch of information. But I'm telling you, when you start digging inside of words, you get a deeper meaning of shit. I'm about to give you an example. Mars is associated with the word defense. And we normally think of defense as block, count, as in protection. Well, that word has the root D, and D means away. And then fence means strike, wound, destroy. Now we know with a surety that Mars is definitely thought of as with these words striking, wounding, destroying, because Mars is associated with knives, bullets, weapons, things that pierce. And when you pierce, as in a fencing match, you're striking and you're trying to wound and destroy. But the word defense, with D meaning away, means you are going away from the strike, you are going away from the wound, you're going away from the destruction. Now, here's one that you probably never hear anybody tell you about Mars. Mars holds the potential for healing. And that's especially important for my generation who have Chiron in Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars, through metaphysical defensiveness, meaning not being defensive. Like when we think of defensive, we think of this. Somebody says something like, what you mean by that? What you mean? What you trying to say? Why are you looking at? That's what we think about defensiveness. But through the etymology, we get a deeper perspective, which means there's a greater level that we can achieve of defensiveness, meaning it's going away from the strike, away from the wound, away from the destruction. That denotes healing. And Mars in Cancer could be healing of familial wounds. It can be healing of destructive DNA cycles, of destructive family curses. Because there's a older astrologer named Bernadette Brady, and she says that planets that are debilitated give us the opportunity to work and think outside the box. We don't have to allow Mars to be a maniac in Cancer. We have the potential to be alchemists, to take the energy and to transmute it and use it how we, as the magicians, see fit. And if we so choose and are so inclined, then we can take this Martian energy that, yes, is in fall, and yes, is frustrating, and yes, I want to snap, yeah, I want to follow this person who pulled in front of me and driving 2 miles an hour. I want to follow him and give him the people's elbow. Or like Greg the Hammer Valentine, if you old enough to remember him, off the top rope. Stupid motherfucker going 2 miles an hour in the left-hand lane. Yeah, my animalistic tendency tells me to do that. But I have choice. There's always a dance between fate and will with astrology. You always got a choice. So we all have a choice that while it is in Cancer, that we can be agents of healing in our respective bloodlines through what we do through our individual journey. Not going to be no savior for nobody and, walking around in some robe with a bowl and my beloved, I have, not that shit. Saving yourself is the first step to saving your bloodline. That martyrdom shit is over with. That Messiah complex, relinquish that. Save yourself. The extension of self would be your household, i.e. your children, your mate. You know, if y'all vibrating on the same wavelength, everything else will work itself out. And that's the challenge too, with Mars being an agent of the ego, of understanding its limitations and understanding what it can do and focus on what you can do. And what I can do is fix my ass. Okay, I know I'm all over the place, but I think it's okay. Keeping in mind again that Cancer is referred to as the gate of men, and Mars in Capricorn is exalted, and Capricorn is the gate of gods, because after Capricorn or Saturn, its ruler, we now move into the outer planets. So it is the gate to that realm beyond. Mars is exalted in Capricorn because Mars has matured. So if you have Mars and Cancer in your chart, you'll have a certain ability to display maturity. Because where Capricorn is symbolically, it is when the earth is dying. The seed emerges in Aries. It is fixed in the ground in Taurus. The ground is aerated in Gemini. The seed grows in Cancer. It becomes a piece of fruit in Leo. It is harvested so it will not rot in Virgo. It is taken to the market and exchanged in Libra. What is left from the exchange is then shows up in Scorpio. It's the karma of the exchange in the market. And now what is left now goes on a long distance journey. It goes somewhere else in Sagittarius. And then there's a time of dormancy in Capricorn. So by the time Mars gets to Capricorn, we're talking about a seed that has gone through pretty much the whole cycle. It's got some knowledge now. That's why Mars is exalted in Capricorn, because it has staying power. Capricorn has given it the ability to learn how to maximize this youthful energy by giving it something way down the road to be working towards, to measure, to be metered in its energetic expression. In Cancer, Mars is still very young. And it just wants to go and burn shit. And it does not want to be doused in no water. By the time it's in Capricorn, it has grown up and preparing to go through the gate of the gods. See, take the astrology and see what you see in the book, and then use your own mind and your imagination and your other studies. You can't just study astrology. You got to study everything, and all that other stuff will support each other. Study the mythology. Mars is a drunkard in the mythology. He gets it in. And Venus can't get enough of him. She got a good husband. Hephaestus. I imagine him being like a little dumpty fella in some overalls, and his fingernails are dirty, but he keeps that mortgage paid. He goes out there and works. He's a blacksmith. And Mars is just crazy, stay up, smoke weed all night, and play PlayStation, but he's slinging that iron though. And while her faces is gone, he go, uh, Venus, Aphrodite, have him come over, and her faces know that she ain't being faithful, so he sets a trap for. So that's Mars. He's a wild boy by nature. So Capricorn's like the OG energy. It's like, look, young man, you got all this, you got heart, but you need to learn how to. You're hustling backwards. You need to learn how to hustle correctly. Get you a job so you paying something in the taxes. Don't be too flashy. And that money you getting from, what I'm saying, you put something up, da 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 da, make moves, da, 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 da. You paying them taxes for 5 years, and you can go and buy whatever you want. That's Capricorn. Schooling them. So I'm just showing that to show the comparison between why one is exalted there and why he's in fall in the other. Okay, what else did I want to? Just some key words for potentials from Mars in Cancer. Boiling water. I have a great illustration and breakdown in my bundle where I talk about the boiling water. It's 212 degrees. You see these things add up to 5. 212 is 5. 23 chromosome, 5. The number of Venus, 5, which is supposed to represent man, arm, leg, arm, head, so there's this significance about 5 because 5 is going from the form Saturn of the number 4, the box, and then there's something emerges out of it, which is the consciousness, which is now there's a head that comes out of this. That's the 5. So there's this element of change there with Mars. And but I started with with it being Cancer being boiling water, which is 212 degrees, 5. Again, Mars is the devolution. Mars in Cancer is the devolution. It's representing the fall into matter. So the question while Mars is there is what work needs to be done? Mars in Cancer can be like the mama bear. Don't mess with my cubs. There can be a strong energy to fight for family, fight for your children. With Mars in Cancer, this is that energy where the mother picks a car up because her baby's in danger. She gets this amazing burst of strength out of nowhere, this superhuman strength. That's something that can happen with Mars and Cancer. Domestic fire, which is a symbolic way of saying can be domestic violence. That's something we want to guard against with Mars and Cancer, because it brings this fire into the home. Flaring tempers, Mars and Cancer. National defense. On a mundane level, national defense. So this could be energy around some type of war cycle picking up with Mars and Cancer. And again, we have it squaring Neptune, so things may not be as they're being presented. So with there being so much tumultuous energy, the only truth there is the truth that you arrive at. Dr. Delbert Blair used to have a quote similar to that. There is no truth until you decide what's true. I think that's how he used to say it. But it's real spill. What is your truth? What is your core? What script are you writing for your DNA within your own home? This and the script you're writing within your own home can be how you heal old wounds within yourself, because you're making a decision that I'm going to write this script a different way. So it can be a way to heal from old wounds that you've endured through your bloodline, through your family. I don't know if I brought this up. But I might have said this the other night when I was on. Damn, I lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? I looked over at that screen. I shouldn't have. About healing. I was talking about healing wounds in the family. Oh, well, it'll come back if it's supposed to come back. But that's really all I got. I just wanted to bring these things out. And I'm sure I'll get off and everything will come flooding back that I wanted to. Trying to think that I cover everything. I talked about this T-square or grand cross. I talked about the square between Uranus and Mercury. Okay. Well, let's see what's going over in the comments. You say Self-Made Defy said, this information is everything. Much gratitude to you, King. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing that. You're welcome. Peace, Natalia. Poise said dragonflies and butterflies at this late in the Texas summer too. Yeah. Peace, Kadaya. I hope I'm saying your name right. And thank you for the love that you be showing too. Mazel or Mazel said, heal yourself before you can heal others. That's the order of the day. That's the order of the day. Heal yourself. That is really all that matters. Damn, that you just triggered what I was gonna say. I don't know if I brought this up, but we go to the place that we go and get colonics done at. There's also, they do some bioresonance testing and healing in there. They have an apparatus where they can take a hair clipping and a fingernail and test it for any deficiencies, okay, in your energetic field. They can take the same sample after they have prescribed whatever regimen, test that same sample to see the effectiveness of the regimen. Now, that might sound ridiculous, but if there's such a thing as non-locality in quantum physics, which has always existed, because you got twins who can say, I knew something was wrong with my twin and they 1,000 miles away. I just felt something. Or you ain't even got to be no twin that's like something just tell you to pick up the phone, call your mother. And she says, I was just thinking about you. Da 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 da. And we dismiss that as just happenstance. That's non-locality. Astrology has always shown us non-locality because it doesn't make logical sense for a planet that may be light years away to have an effect on life forms here on this earth. But what quantum physics has found, what ancient man always knew, is that energy fields are not limited to proximity. They are quantum. They go beyond the limitations of time and space. So that would suggest that any work that you do on yourself will in real time be rewriting your own DNA code backwards and forwards. Mars and Cancer, if nothing else, focus on your journey and those who are coming behind you. And as you maximize your potential and your isness of being, you rewrite code for them to inhabit, to inherit. Real time, you rewrite your code. And then you rewrite even the past because you heal the deficiencies that may have existed in the DNA behind you that might have even led to your own wounds that you carrying in this life. In Kabbalah, Mars is associated with Gabora on the spear, on the pillar of severity. And if there is no severity, which the root of which is sever, there is no birth. Severity. So the severing is the cutting of the umbilical cord, so that now the life form can exist on its own. And it now says, I am. And it just so happens, as we're talking about Mars, and remember I referenced the 212 degrees. Well, look on the tree of life, which sphere is associated with the Martian energy. Gabora is the 5th sphere on the tree of life. Everything is everything. So we're cutting old cords. We're birthing the new reality. We're rewriting DNA code. We're rewriting the timeline through what we do. And that's why one of the number one occult mechanisms in this realm is to rob you of now. Keep you locked in the past and fearful of the future, or regretful of the past, fearful of the future, so that now will never exist. The darker malefic forces of this realm feed on time. That's why ignorance is so important. Stupidity is so important. Worship is so important, because it's a way of colonizing time. If you're ignorant, stupid, unaware, gullible, following, you end up wasting time here, wasting time there, wasting time. And that's food. That becomes food. So don't be nobody's food. All right. I think that wraps it up for what I need to share. As always, for private readings, I'm available through my website, 720astrology.com. My bundles are available at the same place, 720astrology.com. And you can go to what we offer and you'll see where you can get the bundle and you can join our classes that we meet weekly on Sundays. When you become a member, you also get discounts on my services. So that's all I got. I appreciate y'all tuning in this evening. You know how I do is you gingerbread man, catch me if you can. So make sure you turn those notifications on so you'll know when I'm going live. And as always, know the stars to know yourself. And I appreciate y'all. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.